Okay, welcome to this morning's session on delivering through a virtual classroom. And today I'm going to work with you to support you to use virtual classrooms to deliver online learning. And we're going to look at some of the commonly used tools that are available in virtual classrooms. And we're going to see how we can use those tools to offer different pedagogical approaches to our learners. And I'm going to do that through an online mini session with you. I'm then going to show you the enhanced digital teaching platform and the support modules there that you can use to develop your digital skills, along with its badging process that you can evidence your learning, and the submissions area where you can join a community who are sharing their practices. So, in the session, we're using Zoom. You already know that because you've entered it. There are lots of different virtual classrooms available. This one is free, it's 40 minutes, and I know from research done with organisations I've worked with in the past, it's been the one that has been, it's been one of the ones, perhaps I should say, that has been easiest for most people to access across the different sectors. I've worked a lot with community learning and charities, and they've found no problems at all accessing this. And it's also worked for people working in local authorities, colleges, work-based learning. So it's just one tool, but you can sign up for a free account that's 40 minutes. So before I go any further, I just want to explain how we're going to talk to each other today. You're all muted at the moment. And that's because of background noises, children playing, etc., etc. I'm recording this session, as Sarah's just told you, and that will be shared with you afterwards. I'll be screen sharing for most of the session, but not all. As I've said, I haven't turned on webcams because it has bandwidth issues, especially with everybody working from home. And at the moment you're muted, but that will change during the session. So, lots of you have already found the chat room and posted a welcome message. For those of you that have just joined us or don't know how to find it, if you move your mouse towards the bottom of your screen area, you'll find a menu pop up, and on it you'll see two things that I want you to open. One is the Manage Participants, and that'll show you the list of people participating in this webinar this morning. And the second is Chat. Once you've found Chat, if you haven't already, can you post a welcome message to everybody? So Joyce has just posted, "Good morning, I'm Joyce." Thank you, Joyce. So if you haven't already done it, would you like to post a message? Morning, Diana. Okay, I think most of you had already used it. Can you also open up, if you haven't already done so, Manage Participants? And in Manage Participants, below the list of participants, you'll find that you've got a series of icons. You've got a raise hand, a yes, no, and then you've got some tools that support accessibility. Participants can ask you to go slower or to go faster. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to select yes, so that I know you found what we call the feedback status. So thank you, Amy's found it. Excellent. I think the only person, we've got a couple of you that haven't found it yet. So hover your mouse towards the bottom of the screen. You should see a menu bar pop up, and on it will be a Manage Participants. And within that, you'll find what we call feedback status. If you're using a mobile phone, it will be slightly different, but you will still have those options, but they might be in a different place on your phone. Okay, so I'm going to use those two methods as a way of communicating through the session. So you might want to keep those two windows open on your screen. So I thought the best way to show you that the tools that are available within a virtual classroom and to show how they could be used was to deliver a mini session. So today we're having a maths lesson and it's on shapes and repeated patterns. I can already feel waves of anxiety passing through the computer screen to me at the thought of, oh no, what might I be asked? Fear not, it's supposed to be fun and it's just to show you what tools are available and how you could use it. Okay, so my first question to you, and this is an answers in the chat room, is what do all these shapes have in common? What do all these shapes have in common? Thank you, Vikki, they're all red. Yep, Sarah says they're all red. Anything else they've got in common? Right, okay, well done. They are red. What else do they have? Thank you, Diana. They've all got straight sides. They've all got a black outline. Thank you. Yes, anything else? Thinking back to your maths lessons, anything else? They're all two-dimensional. They're regular. Thank you. They're regular shapes. Anything else? There's one of each. Yes. Geometric. Thank you. Ah, lovely. Sarah, symmetrical. They do have lines of symmetry. Andy, they are regular polygons. Okay. Each of those shapes has a line or lines of symmetry. Can I have a volunteer? And to volunteer, what you're going to do is raise your feedback status, the hand on your participant icons, to say that you'd be happy to have a go at drawing a line of symmetry on one of those shapes. So do we have any volunteers? I'm just going to clear all your statuses so that I can quickly see who's raised a hand. So oh, hi, I've spotted somebody. Hang on, where did I spot somebody? Andy and Diana. Right, okay. So Andy and Diana. So Andy, on the square, that's the one you're going to draw on, and Diana, you're going to draw on the, I'm going to be rotten and say the hexagon. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to hover your mouse towards the top of your screen where you'll find you've got a drop-down menu, and one of the options on that drop-down menu will be annotate. Can you select that option? And when you do, you'll see a toolbar open. The first thing you'll have to do is change the colour. Well done. Well done, was it Andy who found the colour? Excellent. So change the colour, and you can do that with the format option so that it's not red, otherwise we won't see it. And then use the draw and line option to draw on that shape. So we've got a nice lines of symmetry going across the square, and here they come, they're starting to, oh, I can see we've got a few wobbly lines. I might not have spotted everybody's hands up, but actually, I suggest that now we've had it in an organised fashion of selecting people, I suggest you all have a go at drawing. So hover your mouse towards the top of the screen, open up the annotate toolbar, select a colour and add to the chaos that is now happening on the screen. Just so that you can see that there are animation tools and that you can allow your students to draw over your slides or annotate things or show you things on your slides. Excellent, we've got a lot of colour going on. I hope the children that are with us are joining in too. I'm not sure that that circular squiggly line is a line. Hello, Lou. I'm not sure the circular line is a line of symmetry. Okay, I think that's enough. I'm going to stop you being able to annotate now. Sorry, folks. And I'm going to clear clear your markings and move on to the next slide. So you have seen that you can, as I say, share your screen and allow others to draw. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my presentation with you, and I'm going to instead share something called the whiteboard. And this will give you a blank whiteboard, okay? And I just need to open my participant list again. Okay, so I am looking for another volunteer, and this time I want that volunteer to draw me a common shape that they would not tile a bathroom with. Okay, so would you like to raise your hand if you're willing to be a volunteer? Okay, Rebecca, thank you for volunteering. I'm going to open up the annotation tools. Now, please let Rebecca draw before you all get in there and have a go. Rebecca, can you open up your annotation toolbar again, and could you draw me that regular shape that you wouldn't tile a bathroom with? We seem to have a bit of a delay from Rebecca. Don't know whether it's because she can't find the annotation tools. If you're having problems, Rebecca, can you just pop a message in the chat? How do you open the tool? Okay, so hover your mouse up to the top of the screen and you'll see view options, and one of those is the annotation toolbar. Jay, you're going to have to change your name, rename yourself so I know what the J of J Sharp means. So hover your mouse by the side of your name and you'll find you get the option to rename yourself so that we can see your full name. Fabulous. Okay, so Rebecca's now drawn as a regular shape. And no, I wouldn't tile my bathroom with that either. Now then, I'm going to clear the participant list again. Which of you have got microphone and video capabilities with you today? Andy has. Oh, I've got a few yeses. Okay, I'm just going to try and pick somebody I haven't picked yet. So, sorry, L Broom, I don't know what the L means. So again, you're another person that's going to have to rename yourself. But would you, I'm going to unmute you. You can turn on your own video if you want, or you've now got microphone capabilities. Joyce, sorry. Hello. Would you like to tell us why you wouldn't tile a bathroom with this with something of this shape?
It wouldn't. It'd be really, really hard to do.
Can you foresee any other problems?
The shape, really, isn't it? I mean, it's nearly elliptical, I suppose, if you want to call it that, or egg shape, and you just never would get a nice edge to that at all by putting it up there, I suppose. It's one way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Or
it would be really hard to do. And would these shapes fit together at all?
No.
No.
Not really.
So you might have a bit of a problem with water going. With water problems. Okay, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Okay. So I'm just going to ask my facilitator, just to save me a little bit of time, to remute for me. And I'm going to stop sharing my whiteboard. Oh, before I do I let you all draw a shape you wouldn't tile a bathroom with? Go on, have a go. Got stars coming through. Arrows. Oh, some of these shapes I might. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be doing the squiggly ones. Okay, I'm clearing your drawings. I'm stopping you annotating now. If I don't disable your annotation, when I go back to the PowerPoint slides, you'll all draw over them. I know you will. So I'm going to stop sharing the whiteboard and I'm going to go back to sharing my PowerPoint presentation. There we go. Okay, so the thing that you've worked out is that all of those shapes tessellate. They fit together without any gaps, all right? So that's called tessellation. What I'm going to do now, because some of you have got to amuse little ones in your house for the rest of the day, but also to help you explore tessellation a little bit more, I'm going to share a web link with you in the chat pane. Okay, so I just need to reopen up my chat pane and I'm going to share a link with you. Now, when you click on the link, it will open up in a new tab or window. You'll still be in the room with me. Don't close this room down, but you can follow the link and it's an online tool that helps you explore tessellation. Now I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to go and look at that and have a little play. And then I'm going to call you back into the room. So I'm going to mute myself for a couple of minutes so that I don't disturb you while you have a little look at that. Okay, that was just to show you that you can also send your students off to do an activity somewhere else online by giving them a link and then giving them time to do that. And it's a good idea to mute yourself while they do that. So can you come back into the room? You might need to change tabs or the browser, depending on how you got there. And when you're back in the room, can you use the feedback status yes to tell me you're back with me? Thank you, Amy. So can you find your way back into the room? Once you're back, can you tell me you're there? So Joyce and Chris, can you rejoin us? Graham, can you rejoin us? Diana? I know it's good fun, that site, but you can keep the link open and carry on using it after the session. Okay, so once you've got back into the site, just click on the yes button and that'll give a tick by your name. Okay, I think we're more or less there. There might be a few of you that are struggling to find your way back or struggling to find where to find the yes part. It's in the manage participants icon on your menu if you hover down at the bottom of your screen. While you get yourselves back into the room, I am going to set you an activity. So we're going to go out into breakout rooms. I'm going to set up 3 breakout rooms so that we can have a small group activity. And what I'd like you to discuss is where you see tessellated patterns in your everyday lives. I want you to agree to examples to share back with the whole group. And while you're there, I want you to agree which one of your group is going to feed back with either having their mic and video on, etc. So you're going to feed back to the whole group. So before I send you off, are you all clear on what you've got to do? Can you use the yes button to tell me that you know what you've got to do in the breakout room when you get there? You've got to discuss where you see tessellation in your everyday life. Between the group, agree and ask which one of you is going to feed back to the rest of us. So on your feedback status, can I have a yes or a no? Do you understand the task that you're going to be set? Excellent, so lots of yeses coming through. Okay, I'm also going to allow you to talk once you've gone into your rooms, all right? So I'm going to unmute you right now or allow you to unmute yourselves. But please don't speak until we get you into the breakout rooms. You've now should see an invitation to join your breakout room. Okay, can you let me know you're back in the room by using the yes icon? Excellent. Okay, lovely, thank you. Okay, so I asked you for volunteers within your groups, one from each of the 3 groups, to tell us some examples. So can those people raise their hand? So Andy, Rebecca, and is there anybody else? Who's the 3rd person? Oh, there we go, Jackie. Okay, so I'm going to unmute each of you, and you can also turn on your videos if you want to. I'm going to stop sharing a moment so that we can see you.
Hi everyone.
Hi Andy.
Hi Andy.
Hi Rebecca, and hi.
Hi.
Okay. Oh, you're all turning on your videos. Okay, let's see if we can crash the system, shall we, on a busy day. Okay, so those people with raised hands. Andy, what are your 2 suggestions for us?
Garden paving stones, I'll have to tessellate all together, and any building that we build has to have tessellation in it.
Absolutely, brick walls, very tessellated. Thank you, Andy. And Rebecca?
Yeah, we had similar fence panels, paving, block paving. I have some wooden slats on my blinds here. The keyboard that we use, maybe, do you think?
They're not quite right next to each other, are they? The shapes on a keyboard, but they are the right shape to tessellate. So thank you, Rebecca. And Jackie?
Morning. We went totally off the wall, and we said about scales on a fish. Yeah, okay, and a pineapple, the shape of a pineapple, in terms of the skin outside. Each kind of like shape, 50p shape, sort of like backs onto the other, doesn't it? But we also have parquet flooring and brick walls as well, just to say that we didn't go completely off on one.
No, nice answers. Thank you everybody else for turning on your videos. It was lovely to see you. All right, I'm going back into sharing the presentation and carrying on with the session because we've got another activity for you. Okay, this time I'm going to show you that in a virtual classroom you could share a video. Okay, so on the next slide, whizzed past it. We did have a video that was on YouTube, which is embedded actually into the
What I want to do in this video is get some practice figuring out patterns in numbers, and in particular, patterns that take us from one number to a next.
And I'm going to move it to the next one. I just wanted to show that that was possible. And I also wanted to show that you can start it. You can show a video actually in a controlled way, as opposed to sending your students off to watch a video, as long as in a virtual classroom, you allow the sound from your computer to go through to them when you play a video. So there's a little icon just before you share a screen that you need to, or a checkbox that you need to check to allow that. Okay, so I've got another task for you. Okay, and this time I want you to think back to your multiplication tables and to think if you can spot a pattern in any of those multiplication tables. I don't want it in the chat pane. I don't want it sent to everyone, all right? So what I want you to do is I want you to look at the participant list, and I want you to send a private message to the person above you in the list. So scroll down the list, find you, look for the person above you, and then you're going to send them a private message. Now I might need to allow you to do private messages. Let me just check. I might have stopped you doing that first thing. No, you've got that capability, I believe. So find the person above you in the list and send them a private message. To do that, go to the bottom of the chat pane, just like you've been posting in the chat pane. And instead of sending your message to everyone, send it to the person in the list above you. And I'll give you a second to do that. Okay, swap your chats back to everyone. so that you don't keep messaging that poor person all day long. And we see your messages as well. Oh, some people have gone downwards because they couldn't go upwards. That's absolutely fine. Jackie says she doesn't have anyone to send a message to. Jackie, because she's at the top of the list, Jackie, select randomly anybody on the list. Perhaps I should have said, if you're at the top of the list, look for the person at the bottom of the list. So it was a circular list. Okay, once you've sent your message, select your yes feedback so that I know that you've done that. That's great. I've got quite a few yeses in there, so thank you. I'm going to move on. So I wonder how many of you received the 9 times table. It, of course, is not the only multiplication table that shows a pattern, but a lot of students remember their 9 times tables by spotting the patterns in them. So you can see here written out that the units go down 1 each time you get to the answers, and the tens go up. And also, if you add the 2 figures and the answer together, it always makes 9. I'll come back to that question, Andy, in a moment, all right? So, what happens for those of you that should be in a workshop area delivering construction, delivering catering, delivering engineering? Many of you are delivering practical skills. What are the options for you with virtual classrooms? Well, you can certainly use them to deliver theory, but you could also combine them. So you could direct students to look at some existing online content if you have some. I'm going to stop my video again. And you could also send them, you could create your own videos. And if you create your own videos, you could upload them onto a site like YouTube. If you don't want the wider world to see them, if you list them as unlisted, then you can still share that link or embed that video into your presentation. And the only other people that are going to find that link is somebody that comes across it by chance. So there are those options, or your organisation may have an area where you can upload videos and link to them anyway. And the final option is that you could join your own meeting on a second mobile device, or in Zoom, if you have an iPad or an iPhone, you can actually use the share screen option and make your share your mobile device. And if you put your mobile device in a stand so that it's clamped so that you don't have to be worrying about it, and you mute either your mobile device or you mute your main computer that you're hosting from, your laptop or your computer that you're hosting from, so that you don't get any feedback clashes, you've then got a mobile device that you can show practical activities. So you basically live streaming what you might be doing. So that might be an option for you. I know that some instructors for engineering, for example, are still being allowed into their workshop areas as long as they don't, go near other instructors. They have the distance between them. So that is a possibility you could actually be creating and using videos. Got one more thing to do with you on this mini lesson, and that is, of course, to send you your homework. So I'm hoping that it's still, oh no, that's not the right one. Let me just send you a file. It'll just take me a second, so I'm just going to find my file and hopefully send you the right document, so that could be a disaster. There we go. It's actually as a PDF. It's coming through, and you will get the option to either accept it or not accept it, and that's up to you. But you can see that you can send files through the virtual classroom. And that's it. That's the end of the little mini session. That's shown you the tools, and hopefully I've shown you some different approaches for using commonly used tools on a virtual classroom. I'm coming back to just summarise what we've seen, and that if you've opened your homework, you'll see that I've given these tools listed in your homework with space for you to write down some ideas about how you might use them. So we've seen the feedback status. You can use yes, no, you can use raise hand, and you can use the accessibility options to slow down or speed up. You can use chat in two ways, as group chat or private chat. Private chat for activities where you're working in pairs, or private chat for asking for support privately from you. So if you want learners to, if they're struggling with something, they could send you a private chat message. We've looked at the annotation tools when you were drawing lines of symmetry and shapes that you wouldn't tile a bathroom with. So you can see you could do all sorts of, well, can you show me how to do that kind of questions. So we had the whiteboard, and we had it on top of our PowerPoint presentation as well. You can share web links, and you can send them off to do an activity. You can mute your mic while they do it and then call people back into the room. You can share documents through the chat pane, so you could send relevant documents or something that suddenly you remember or would be useful during a session. And likewise, they can share documents with you. You can embed video, so if you are creating video because you deliver practical subjects, or it's just a video you want to deliver instruction, you can do that. You have breakout rooms for small group activities. Breakout rooms in Zoom, incredibly simple. It automatically takes your participant list, asks you how many rooms you want, and it will send people randomly to those rooms. Group discussions, we opened up everybody's webcams and some of your mics, and you could see that you could potentially have a group discussion. You need to keep them structured though. Question and answers through individual mic, opening up people's individual mics. And of course, we're recording it, so anybody that is unable to join on that particular day could then watch the recording. So I could record this and save it online because I've got a fee-paying account, or you could record and then share it through a VLE, through YouTube, etc. So my tips for teaching through a virtual classroom, and these are just a few of my tips, I suppose. Plan to cover less than you would in a face-to-face session. It does take longer. Check your audio and webcam before you start the session. Use control release of the microphone, which you saw today, and that stops everybody talking at once or nobody knowing who's going to speak next. Be cautious of everyone using their webcams, especially at the moment with so many people working from home, because it affects bandwidth. Make sure you use as many tools as you can to support your learners and make them aware of them. Keep the input short, add lots of interaction. It makes it much more fun, I hope you found this morning. Build in regular breaks. Don't go past the hour with students. It's too much for you to concentrate and for them to concentrate. And when you start using a virtual classroom, it feels strange. You feel like you're sitting in a room talking to yourself, but you soon get used to it. Give it a go. With my own students, I would be more than happy to, have their mics on, or, their videos on even, or for them to post a picture of themselves, just so that you get that feeling that you are in a room. I'm coming back to Andy's question about can we learn how to do this more. Zoom is one virtual classroom, as I've said before. They all have really good support tools on how to do this. So if you Google Zoom support, you'll find videos, you'll find very simple instructions too. But I've added a slide to show you what I'm seeing. Now this is while I'm still in PowerPoint mode before I've gone into slideshare mode, but it would look the same. And you can see I've got the menu bar that you have at the bottom of the screen. I have it at the top. And so I've got all the mute, the start, manage participants. That opens up the manage participant window that you've got, and I've got a few more options on there, like I can clear all your feedback status, and I've got I can do a share, I can pause my recording, I can open up my annotate, and then under more I can open up my chat rooms, my breakout rooms, I can set up recording. I've got closed captioning for support, so I can nominate a person within the room to do closed captions. So if you're working alongside a colleague and you've got a hearing impaired student, they could be typing brief notes for that person. I can disable your annotations to stop you drawing all over my slides. I can make your names appear so we know who drew what. I can hide all the floating meeting controls if they're getting on my nerves, etc. So those are just the basic tools, and I promise you they're very, very easy to use. If you spent the next hour or half an hour, create an account, open it up, and join from another device as a student, and you'll see both sides. You'll have got the hang of it very quickly. Okay. I now want to tell you a little bit about the Enhanced Digital Teaching Platform. I'm very aware that we're coming to the end of the session. There are, and I'll ask Vikki or Sarah if they can pop a web link for a video that introduces the platform. But the Enhanced Digital Teaching Platform helps you to develop digital skills competency. All right, so if you were to go to this tool, this platform, you'll find lots and lots of modules that can support you to develop your digital skills. And the modules themselves sit within a framework, a digital teaching professional framework. And I've highlighted one particular area. And the area that I've highlighted is the accessibility and inclusion area. I've tried to point out things this morning as I've gone through about accessibility and inclusion, but there is a whole section, even the PowerPoint or the resources that you create that you use within those sessions needs to be accessible to your learners. But you'll also see in another area, in section B, you'll see there's an area about teaching fully online. So across the whole framework, the 7 areas, there are resources that can help you. And the resources come in 3 levels: exploring, adopting, and leading. And on the next slide, I've put together some of the resources that might help you with delivering through virtual classrooms. So starting with accessibility, that's the place to start. Thinking about inclusive practice and the principles, as well as how to put those into practice. There's one on recording teaching sessions. There's things about collaborative learning synchronously and how we share, collaborate and improve. So please do go and have a look at those. And I just want to explain that if you start to do the modules, they're very short, they're bite-sized modules. So each module, as you'll see if you have a look at the overview video that we're hopefully posted into the chat area. I've closed my chat area down, so I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it will be there. You'll see that within accessibility, for example, as I said, 3 stages: exploring. These are clusters. These modules are what we call clustered. So there's an exploring cluster, an adopting cluster, and a leading cluster. Exploring is getting to know a little bit about, and that has got the inclusive content principles, and there's 6 principles that you should think about when doing any content. The adopting is then putting those principles and other things into practice, and the leading is leading others or leading by example and helping others to achieve it. So maybe holding your own webinar for others to learn the skills too. And you can see the different badges, and you can see that you get different stars depending on which of the levels you're there. So leading is 3 stars. There is no 3-star badge at accessibility because for exploring, when you complete the cluster, you automatically get a badge. For adopting, when you reflect on what you've learned about one of those modules or about something you've picked up and you've put into practice or thinking about putting into practice, when you post your reflection, you get a 2-star badge or you work towards a 2-star badge. And with leading, we expect you to develop a resource and reflect on how that resource worked in practice. And that leads you to a 3-star badge. And it's a similar process across all the badges. When you go to the platform, it helps you to tell you what badge to work towards next. Why should you do it? Well, we know that learning and reflection supports learning. And the more you reflect and then apply it in your practice, the better it's ingrained, the metacognition part of learning. and it does help to develop a growth mindset. And for reflecting, you're not out there on your own. We have scaffolded your reflecting, so we've put questions in there. We've given you an idea of the sort of word count we're expecting for your reflections, just to help you to do that. Why should you do it? Well, in return for posting your reflections and your resource, you will get supportive feedback from peers in the sector who have put into practice that type of learning. I should point out that at the moment, the badges are only available within accessibility and dealing with difference and diversity, the inclusion options. They're being trialled up until the 30th of March. They'll certainly still be there after the 30th of March, but they're in trial at the moment before it gets rolled out across the badges. It doesn't stop you doing the modules. You can do any of the modules anywhere, and come back and do the badges within those modules at a later date. We also will give you feedback suggestions and support. So we'll give you ideas of things you could do next. And if you do post reflections and you make them public and you post resources, you'll see them on this awarded practice area on the Enhanced Digital Platform site, so that you can go and look at what other people are doing. You can explore it. You can filter by curriculum area or the type of resource you're looking for. We have got future webinars. There's one this afternoon about how to adapt your content quickly to deliver online. And there are 2 tomorrow for anybody that is using a virtual learning environment, such as Moodle, Canvas. We'll be using Moodle as our demo site, but the sort of things we show you will apply to all. So I'm just going to review the session because I know that we've slightly overrun. This is what we plan to do, to introduce you to some commonly used tools, to show you how they can be used in pedagogical approaches, and to introduce you to the Enhanced Digital Teaching Platform. So I'm going to, I've got Alistair's email up there as well as my own. Don't worry, you can email either of us. But if you have any questions, please do follow up by emailing us. Please do join us on the platform as well. I'm just going to open up my chat pane so that I can look at the sorts of questions. If you have any questions, do please post them now. You will get the recording so that you can reuse and explore later. So we will be sending out the recording. If I've missed any questions, Sarah, would you just like to turn on your mic and let me know? Otherwise, we'll say cheerio to everybody, and to leave the room, hover over the bottom of your screen and you'll see a leave meeting option. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're able to join us on some of the other webinars this week.